So we're discussing we're continuing our discussion now on custom Ajax callbacks, and now we've just captured in this variable called pk value the primary key of the row that we want to delete. As we mentioned, the primary keys are inside this E object in an array called underbar current row keys, and we know that by looking at the this is the comments that are in the function prototype that is generated automatically for you. So it tells you here that that the primary keys are in this underbar current row keys array. And so we've discussed also that since the primary key for this table is a single column, this array only has one entry in it, and so we need to read the first entry out of the array. And remember that XBasic arrays are 1 based, unlike JavaScript arrays which are 0 based. So so now we have the primary key value, which is in pk value, and now next we construct our SQL statement. So we want to delete from customer where customer ID equals, and again we use an argument, and this time the argument is called what customer ID. Remember that arguments always start with a colon. And now we need to basically create a new argument in our arguments object. So you can see here we go and we do arguments.add what customer ID, but this time the customer ID we know is a numeric field. So when we create the argument, we need to convert pk value, which currently is a character type, into a numeric type by calling the convert type function. We know that it's a character type because all data that gets submitted in a web application is untyped. It's character type. So in fact, if we were to go now, if we were to go here and say type of E dot underbar current row keys of 1, you can see it comes back as a character type. So it's important that when we create our arguments, we create them with the correct data type, and the convert type function is very useful for casting a data value to the appropriate type. So for example, if this was say an argument that said what time value, then we would take the time value of the that was submitted there and use t as the type that we wanted to get. But of course in this case we want a numeric value, so there we go ahead. So now that we've created this argument called what customer ID, we can go ahead and actually execute our SQL. So when you execute the command, you call the connection object's execute method, and you pass in the optional args parameter to the execute method. So here we go ahead and we do the delete, and we check the flag to see if it's true or false. In this case it's true, which means that the command succeeded. If the command had failed, then the flag would be false, and we would have sent back a response to the browser telling the user why the record could not be deleted. And again, the reason would have been stored in the connection object's callResult.text property. So but again, there was no error. So in order to find out how many rows were actually deleted, we call the connection object's affected rows method. So that tells us that one record was deleted, and we check that how many records were deleted, because there's a chance that somehow in the interim some other user might have deleted this record, and so when we actually got round to deleting the record might no longer be there, and in that case we wouldn't have been this rows affected would have been 0, and we would have sent back the message to the browser saying that the record was not found, we could not delete it. But the record was deleted, and so now we can go ahead and refresh the grid to actually update the user interface, because at this point the record has been deleted from the underlying table, but the grid is going to continue to display the record because nothing has told the grid that the record has been deleted. So we need to call the grid's refresh method, and you can see here that we're going to be calling the grid's refresh method, and then we've also added in an alert statement that said record was deleted, and we're going to send that back as our response to the browser. So let's pause now and pick it up in the next video.